Didn't know that this was a thing until recently, but I think what they're doing over at DeFi is like super sick. Like, I wish I had something to really watch and learn when I was first coming up and first learning how to produce. So as many of you know, I'm gonna be going over my song Transparency, doing a breakdown of it, and then I'm gonna be doing an unreleased, top secret unreleased song. What inspired this new stylistic change you're wanting to implement? I just basically been going through a lot of stuff in my life, and I really wanted I want that to translate into my music instead of just, I don't know, just making super, super heavy music. Like, I feel like if I'm able to make people feel something and them love the song and it's heavy, then, that's what I've always wanted to do. But yeah, guys, my name's Sean, aka Hekler, and today I'm going to be going over my, well, not latest song, but I took a break and then I came back, and this is the first song that I released after the break. It's called Transparency. It's a melodic tune with a lot of super distorted, awesome bass. And the second song is going to be an unreleased song called Dystopia. It's a single off of a project that I've been working on for the last 2.5 years or so. So yeah, I'm really stoked to go through and show you guys the mind behind everything that I do. So I'm going to start out by doing a playthrough of Transparency. If you guys have heard it, this is what the project looks like. If you haven't heard it, I hope you guys enjoy. So let's go. Keep in mind, if you hear anything through this playthrough, just start asking away. I have the live feed of the chat going on my screen in front of me, so I'm going to try to keep on top of everything. So let's go. It's your boy Hekler. This is the breakdown of Transparency.
Hold on, man. He's into it. She got me feeling like I'm going insane. I don't like that, the way she lose it. That shit was perfect, but it ain't the same. Girl, I gotta go now. Yeah, we gotta slow down. Girl, I gotta go.
Yeah, these are Glade's vocals. Appreciate that, Denzel.
I said I like that, the way she move it. She got me feeling like I'm going insane. I don't like that, the way she lose it. That shit was perfect, but it ain't the same. Girl, I gotta go now. Girl, we gotta slow down. Girl, I gotta go.
So this is Transparency. Yes, Glades is singing on it. I'll get to the story behind that, but yeah, we will start the breakdown. I'm gonna let this kind of ring out real quick. All right, that is Transparency. So let's go over this. Let's show you guys how I made it. Let me read through this, and I'll keep tabs on what I should go over. How do I make my basses? I'll make sure I go over that. How do you keep your sounds loud and distorted but keep a good mix down? Clipping the master. I honestly clip the living crap out of my master, and I do parallel compression on my synths and all that good stuff. Where can we get the lean with it kick? I don't know. I got that kick and processed it freaking years ago, like 6 years ago. Appreciate that, James. All right. What's the difference between dimension and stereo? I'll go over that once we get to the basses. Call and response, yes. Let's see those drums. Start with the intro. Yeah, I'm gonna work. So I have it set up here where I'm gonna work through the melodic elements in the intro, the bass and the breakdown, vocals, drops, and everything. So let's open this up. I'm gonna literally just go down the line. So the main ARP, I used Omnisphere. This is Game Boy lead. I really liked it. It was like super catchy. I literally have this going through the entire track. That's something really major for me. I like being able to have some type of energy flowing through the entire song. That way people don't get bored when they're listening to it. When I write ARPs, let's bring this up. Do 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 do. This whole song is written in sharps. So literally, so if you're not trained in piano or understand music theory, literally write everything on the black keys when you're like either playing it on your keyboard or you're clicking them in, and then just transpose them down. You can create different vibes. Like if I go here and just bring it down right here. See, so that's gonna be my first tip. When you're creating ARPs, write them on the black keys, pitch them up, down, do whatever you want. So let's bring the Reese bass. Is this the Reese? No, this is like a little harp. This is like one of the main sounds in the entire song. And as you guys can see, there's not much processing on any of these sounds. Like when you're creating intros, you don't want to overly saturate, you don't want to overly compress these sounds because you want them to breathe. You want them to feel alive. And then when you get to a drop, you can compress the heck out of it because that's going to be the loudest part of your drop. So on this harp, it is Omnisphere again with Endless Smile. I love using Endless Smile to create some type of atmosphere when doing intros. It's honestly my go-to reverb. It's not meant to be a reverb, but it was created to like thin out and do reverb throws on like build-ups or just like, you know, basically thin things out. But I do it like quarter way, 45%, and it creates a really beautiful ambient texture to it. So that's what I really use on all of these. So played together, you guys get a sense of an ambience, and it's gonna fill every room. It's gonna fill the festivals. It's gonna, trust me, get Endless Smile. It'll change your life forever. Exactly, basically a washout. Do you have any tips on counter melodies? Yes. So this one down here, it's not really a melody, but it's kind of just like a, yeah, it is a counter melody, but it's very, very faint in the background. And it works well with the art. It's filling those spaces like ba 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 ba. So like basically for your counter melody, you want a progression that's not following the main arp or the main melody, that kind of just complements it. Oh, think we lost it real quick. Don't know what's going on, but hopefully we're back. Chat, let me know if everything still sounds good. And then when it came down to that, I have these three elements going, and I have a Reese bass running underneath it, which is the main bass line. Alright, so as you can see, so for this literal entire intro, we have 4 different elements, and that's literally it. You don't have to complicate. You don't have to overcomplicate anything when it comes to doing your intros, because you want people to be able to remember and be able to, let's see, lagging a little bit. Okay, let's figure this out. Think we should be good. Everything should be pretty solid. But yeah, I just have 4 different elements in this intro. So when you're kind of developing an idea, try not to overcomplicate it, and you'll do pretty well. I think we're good as far as the intro. Let's go over some of the processing on it. Like I said, for the ARP, we have Omnisphere, Endless Smile, an EQ that is doing absolutely nothing. I don't know what that's about. And then utility. So I saw a question about the dimension send. So that's what I use to get my stereo width when it comes to stereo imaging. I like using stock plugins. So I have a delay that is set on time on left and right, 1 millisecond on the left side, 10.3 milliseconds on the right side. And if you crank that on a send, that's going to create a stereo effect. And then I have a glue compressor, which is making everything louder on that send, and we're cutting the lows out. So if we go here on the ARP, let's fix that overlay. Boop. Got rid of the overlay for you guys. Alright, so basically that dimension send is putting it extreme wide, and then the reason for this utility is I put it at 57%. That way it kind of puts it back in its place. I don't know exactly what it does, but it kind of just puts it in its own spot. Yeah, it's basically the Haas effect, but instead of making 5 different channels where it's hard pan left, right, 25% left, right, and then 1 in the middle, it kind of is just like a a rack that you guys can kind of write down if you want. If you're in Ableton, I'm sure you can do the same thing if you guys use FL Studio or any other type of DAW. So next we have basically the same processing on the harp sound, same endless smile. I'm cutting out at like 100 and 250, just so like it's kind of not sitting on top of all the other sounds. You really want to do a lot of cutting EQing when it comes to basically anything when you're doing EQs, because when you boost, you're gonna kind of clash with other frequencies. So if you're cutting them, kind of creating a puzzle piece, and yeah, that's basically what this EQ is doing. And then obviously auto filter, it's just slowly cutting out the highs. Stereo imaging send doing anything? No, I just have that there. When I switched over to my new computer, my Fab filter stopped working, so I just don't use it anymore. But the dimension and the stereo send, they're literally the exact same thing, except for dimension, it adds another layer by adding the compression to it. And then let's go over the processing on the Reese. So this is a Reese bass out of Omnisphere again. I actually stopped using Omnisphere because I went full analog, but yeah, this is a big zip bass courtesy of Omnisphere. So basically, let's shut all these off. I use pedal with the overdrive setting, and then here's it with no processing. Pedal, it brings out the harmonics in the Reese bass itself. There's a little sub tab here, and it kind of creates a well, it keeps the sub frequencies, because if you shut it off, the sub frequencies are basically gone. This kind of just boosts them. And then utilities on it want to keep everything mono when it comes to sub frequencies. And then I did a slight cut, taking out the highs, that way it doesn't interfere with the ARP, the other elements of the actual song. How do you get your CPU to cooperate with your Omnisphere instruments without freezing them? I use a app called what is this called again? It's Memory Diag. It works on Mac. I'm sure it works on PC as well. It basically recycles all like the ghost CPU that's being used on your RAM, and it just helps, because like right now this is full project and we're sitting idle at 20%. I think it's pretty good. I can help you get those plugins working. A lot of people gave up. I actually got them to work. It's just the actual rack that I have, it's of the old version, and I've been just way too lazy to even go in and you know, redo it.
Make your music stand out, get more views, and way more engagement. Bring your music to life. Get Music Visualizer in every format, even for social media. Get started today. The link is in the description.
Here you go. Yeah, CPU saver's totally amazing. All right, next we will be bringing up the infamous bass in the breakdown. What's going on, Perry? It's called Memory Diag. So for the break in this song, I used Omnisphere again. Let me bring up Omnisphere. It's the big bad glider bass. It sounds super crunchy. I love it. It sounds amazing. And basically we have All right, so as you guys can hear, it's super crunchy. It has a lot of distortion on it. Super thick. I love this bass a lot. So I started from a B down to G sharp, F sharp, D sharp, C sharp, A, D. It's kind of like a counter to the bass line that was in the intro itself. So on here, again, there's really no really hard processing on it at all. Here we go. Let's bring that up. Where are we at? So on this bass, since we have like a top layer that's really distorted, I used a utility and I did bass mono, and the mono frequencies are just going to be 120 hertz. So that way it doesn't put the distorted frequencies in the background. I notice a lot of people just like they put their distorted basses in mono, but you really want that top layer to shine itself. You'll hear the Hekler tag very soon. How did I legato it? I literally created, well, there is a legato button when you open up the piano roll, but for this, I literally just overlapped all of the notes. As you can see here, they're overlapped, and they're just going down the keys. So when we bring that distortion back in, yeah, so there's basically not really much going on processing wise on this bass because it's such a quality VST. It just kind of works. And like for me, I don't like over processing. I don't like overly compressing things because it'll sound good on live systems, but you have to always remember that people are going to be listening to this at home on their MacBook speakers. They're going to be listening on their AirPods. Like, even on SoundCloud, if you're overly compressing your basses, SoundCloud, all streaming platforms, they put they basically compress it down, and it really just makes it sound bad. So this is just kind of one way to kind of avoid it, but kind of not, because they do it so bad. How many layers do I recommend for having on the build up and drop? Let's see. I will get to that. Remind me, Hunter. I'll get to that. But not many. Let's just leave it at that for now. Not many at all. So far, does anybody have any questions over the melodic elements or that bass that I just covered itself? All right, cool. Now, do you make sure you fill out the frequency spectrum? Yes and no. I mean, I don't know. Like, for me, music, there's never a absolute correct way to do things or absolute wrong way, because it's, you know, it's all on what the artists themselves feel sounds good. But if you can fill the frequency spectrum without kind of overlapping frequencies to avoid that muddiness, I'm all for it. Could you resize the Ableton window? Unfortunately, my monitor, it's locked to a certain dimension, but I will make sure to go over everything and go into specific detail on the stuff that you guys can't see. I'm really sorry about that, guys. Yes, I use trash. I will show you. I use trash in the drop itself. Side chaining, I'll get to that for the drop. So right now I'm gonna go over the vocals. We're gonna listen to Glade's beautiful voice.
I said I like that, the way she move it. She got me feeling like I'm going insane. I don't like that, the way she lose it. That shit was perfect, but it ain't the same. Girl, I gotta go now.
Alright, so for this vocal, I did the Haas effect where you hard pan left, hard pan right, keep one in the middle. The way we recorded it, it sounded really good. All we did was do some auto-tune, which is not on here because I resampled it. But if you guys have any questions about auto-tune or like processing the vocals on that side of things, I can cover that as well. But I have a flanger effect. Let's go ahead and mute all of the effects. That way you guys can hear the A and B. Let's group this. Boom. Boom. Is there anything on? No. There we go.
I said I like that, the way she move it. She got me feeling like I'm going insane.
So this is the raw vocal with
I don't like that, the way she lose it. That shit was perfect, but it ain't the same. Girl, I gotta go now.
See, it sounds very dry and it has no life and it's just it's whatever. Auto-tune plugin, I use Waves Tune. And then when we turn it on, has all this life.
I said I like that, the way she move it. She got me feeling like I'm going.
So first we have the flanger effect. This is a stock one in Ableton. And then we have a rack that me and Glades put together. It's we have reverb. This is de-essing, kind of get that hissing away, just getting rid of that. This is a delay, but I have it turned off because I believe I used another delay. Yeah, there we go. And basically this is like sending within your chain itself. You can
I said I like that, the way she move it.
It allows you to really control the actual like levels of each individual effect instead of having just 1,000 effects in a long chain. Where's this at? This is just a basic reverb. It's literally the stock one, and I have it at 100% wet, but using this chain here, I have it, you know, kind of turned down to -16. That way it's not too much and it's sitting in the background. The reverb, so the EQ after the reverb, it's basically cutting out the reverb on the low frequencies of the vocal, because you don't want that. It's just gonna kind of create a just a very muddy mess. You don't want that. So anytime you do reverb, especially on like a send channel, I would recommend doing any type of effects like that on a send. That way you can go in and actually cut out the lows and not worry about it once you send it to your the track that you're trying to put the reverb on. And then I have a sidechain using the stock Ableton compressor, and we're sidechaining from the vocal. That way the reverb is always ducking and it's not drowning out the actual enunciation of the words. And then the de-esser, this is how we get rid of the hissing. FabFilter Pro DS. Sure, there's thousands of different de-essers that do the exact same thing. It basically just gets rid of those bad resonances that you don't want. And then even when you get rid of, if you want to get rid of more hissing that you can't, let's bring this up. Let's bring up Pro Q. Where we go? There we go. There we go. So we're bringing up Pro Q.
I said I like that, the way she move it.
Usually this is basically what the de-esser is kind of doing, but this will kind of reassure you. on literally everything that I do, I hard cut at 16K. And then any of these like needles, like the resonances that you guys see,
I said I like that, the way she move it.
there's really not many, but if you have an EQ and it shows these just like really fine needles, and then you go up with the Q and just like, you know, do like a bell cut and just cut it like -3, it'll really get rid of that like hissing sound on top of it. And like anything over 16K, you don't need, because it's just like, it's basically silent. So we're going to be removing those frequencies taking up that ghost space, and that's going to allow you more space for your actual notes.
That shit was perfect, but it ain't the same.
Do you make your vocals mono? No, I don't. I do the Haas effect. I mean, it technically it's not, in a way. I mean, I have one panned hard left, one hard right, and then I have one in the center, which is mono actually. But yeah, that's basically it. I'll bring up the Waves tune, since one of you guys asked about that. Let's bring up Waves tune. All right, so basically in Waves tune, you'll have this on your main vocal track, and then you'll only solo the vocal, let it play through, and then it'll put, let's just do this itself.
I said I like that, the way she move it. She got me feeling like I'm going insane. I don't like that, the way she lose it. That shit was perfect, but it ain't the same. Girl, I gotta go now.
See, so it's basically hitting every single note, and then I'll just go in, turn the speed all the way down, note transition all the way down, find the root note itself, and then always do, well, you don't always have to, but I do natural minor, and then I apply it, and then it'll literally tune it to whatever key your song is. Do you brick wall the low end? Yes, I do. I do 120 to 100 hertz brick wall it. Using utility to plan them left to right, or are they the same thing? They're basically the same thing, with the 57% width that kind of just puts them in a space that I really feel works. Alright, let's move to the drop sounds. Created this bass on my Moog. I'm going to go over the processing. I'm sure a lot of you are really interested in this. So we have... So on here, let's group these. That way, yeah. See, when I said I don't like overly processing, I may have lied a little bit. Just a little bit. The sub at 20 hertz, for example. Oh yeah, just to get rid of muddiness. Yeah, sorry, I totally misunderstood what you were saying. So this is the bass without all the processing. Terrible. Let's A and B that. Alright, so basically on here, I have it separated into two different layers. I have the high layer, all the distortion. So I have Serum Effects doing a reverb filter. Using the the reverb filter, cut off at 35 hertz, resonance 32%, drive 32%, and that's it when it comes to doing the reverb section. That's one little part. I do a frequency shifter automation. So with the frequency shifter, I'm creating a ring mod effect using the frequency shifter, and it's totally changing the sound. So, yes, all of these basses are from the same patch. I just went through and created a whole reel of basses and just put them all together, resampled, processed, resampled again. Resampling is going to be your best friend if you're trying to make crazy sounding basses. What keys do I typically write your songs in? D sharp, E, F. I've been writing in like A minor lately. I've been kind of writing everywhere lately. I've been kind of trying to expand the horizons. So next I have a saturator. I have a saturator soft clipping. Everything on the dry and wet for these is 100%, by the way. I realize that you guys can't really see it, so I'm gonna make sure I'm on top of that. The saturator, I basically have a 0 dB output. The frequency's at 1 kilohertz, 30% width. We're on an analog clip with 100% dry wet, and that's creating that crunchiness for you. Would you recommend putting the reverb filter in key? I usually just do everything by ear. I don't really trust just everything that is going on the screen, even though it's like electronic. I've gotten into situations where I'm just like, I don't know, it doesn't sound that good. And then my boy FN gave me this rack. Basically, is just OTT. The OTT is at 10 dBs output, 6 dB overall output, and then 5 dB for the mids, and then a 37% amount. You don't want to overly do your OTT, because if it's cranking, it's gonna sound like crap, and you're gonna be fighting that at the end of the mix. So look, like, it adds all these like weird hissing noises that are the OTT is creating. And then again, I have another saturator on a soft sine with 30% again, and then 50% dry wet. Yeah, I was pretty excited when all this post-processing is key. You can turn any sound into something fantastic. I can freaking guarantee you that. So what I have on here next is dun 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 trash. This is just adding more crunchiness to the top of that bass. We have the mix fully at 100, but the dry wet kind of let me give that a guesstimate. It's like 30% or so. This is literally one of the stock presets. It's called Digital Bump Harder. If you guys have trash, it's the go-to preset. I was randomly told that one day, and I didn't look back. And then next we have trash. And then in front of that we have another EQ cutting at what looks like a little over 100 hertz. That way it doesn't interfere with the sub bass that's underneath it. We have reverb throws. I wasn't using any of that at all. Endless Smile to kind of wash the bass out, breaking into the breakdown. And then this weird synth rack. We have a vocoder on it. 100% wet, release at 150 milliseconds. That's all at the bottom. 20 bands, precise. And that's, make sure it's on stereo. That's basically it. With another OTT after it. And then this is where it gets kind of weird with the EQing. Basically all these dips, I was just trying to get rid of certain frequencies that were fighting with other elements in the song. And then we have a glue compressor, basically making it everything louder. A soft clipping glue compressor. Actually, I'll show you guys that real quick. Glue compressing trick. You can put your attack at 0.3, release at 0.4, threshold at minus 18.4, makeup at 15, dry wet at 50, and then when you play it, this is parallel compression for you right here. And next, utilities not being used, endless smile for the reverb throws, and then sidechaining. We're to the sidechaining part that I promised you guys. So basically my kick pattern, I'll have the kick pattern and then I'll put a hi-hat underneath, and it's basically a ghost. I'll mute the hi-hat and then I'll trigger it from this sidechain and turn the ratio all the way up, attack at 0.2, release at 7.5, and then the threshold, I'll bring it all the way down. That way you can just cut. It's gonna cut the sounds that you're sidechaining with that ghost hat instead of using the kick, because the kick is is too wide of a transient, I guess you could say. I don't know if that's the correct term, but this is just gonna ensure that you have a super quick sidechain. As you can see. Yeah, so overcutting it. Let's see. Next we go to the sub bass. It's a doinker. So basically all we have on here is a sub that I made it in Serum. It's literally just a sub frequency. It's set in mono. And then we are cutting it at 90 hertz and then like 10-ish at like on the lows, just to get rid of that muddiness. But yeah, you basically don't want this band to overlap whatever the top layer is, because it's just going to clash and it's not going to sound good at all. Let's see, what's the process on resampling, creating a bunch of the same basses? I'll literally make a reel, process the whole reel, resample it, consolidate it, do it again and over and over and over again until it sounds like crap, and then I'll like Command Z so I can go back to the one that sounded good. Must have effect VSTs, everything Fab Filter. Freak Show Industries has a lot of dope stuff, and that's really all I use. Vocal chops, keep 1000 with you. Found this on Splice and I just cut it up. I did the exact same vocal that what I did on Glade's vocal. I did the exact same processing on this. It's like literally my go-to, and then I rolled off the mids just so it kind of sat on top of everything. And I did the Haas effect as well. Hard left, hard right, and it's pretty much it. It's the same basic processing as I did on Glade's vocal. Why did I go full analog? I needed to switch it up. I was getting too, like, I don't know. Something just feels right. Like, I grew up playing piano and instruments and stuff, and like I just wanted to get back in touch with the reason why I fell in love with music, and that was like physically playing it. Still, I still go into piano roll click in using Omnisphere occasionally to like add a layer to the analog synth that I made, but other than that, it's kind of just a preference thing. It kind of re-inspired me. I went through a big point where I was just like, can't make music, can't do it. All right, the drums. Nothing. Yeah, so the drums, I'll start with the kick. See, even my kick got so hard that I had to turn it down. I never used to turn my kick down. But basically, this is all the processing is. We got a compressor with a 4-to-1 ratio, the attack at 30 milliseconds, the release at 120 milliseconds. Dry wet, full crank on a send. Crank that send. Make sure you have a nice kick, and your kick will hit. I freaking promise you. I promise you. It's gonna hit. And then let's get through this quick so we can move on to the next song. Ask any questions while you guys are at it. Do you tune your drums to the key of the song? No, I don't. I come from like a hip hop background where like I never really focused on that. Like, I know it's a big thing in live music, making sure, like, the toms and everything. Like, for toms or anything that have, like, really tonal, values, I'll actually tune it just to make it sound closer. But I never go in and just focus on, oh, let me tune this hi-hat. Let me tune this kick. Let me tune this. Let me tune that. Yes, I mono everything. And then my hi-hats, I'll have some... Picture this. Picture you're behind a drum kit, right? You got your hi-hats over here. You got your cymbals up to the top right. You got your kick in the middle. You got your snare panned off to to the left a little bit. And I basically envision me sitting behind a drum kit, and then I'll pan every single instrument that's on every single piece of the drum set. I'll pan it accordingly to what I envision a drum set being. And then as far as the, there's really no processing on any of my drums other than putting them in mono. Like, I'm a firm believer that everything should slap, and if it slaps, it's fine by me. So yeah, there's really no processing on any of this. Let me bring up this ghost hat real quick before we move on to the next project, just so you guys can get an idea. So this is what I'm sidechaining with. Little tiny hi-hat. It's perfectly in sync with every single kick, and that's what the compressor is kind of triggering when, because I'd rather it trigger on this tiny transient than this big old boy right here. It's just gonna make everything in your mix dip and kind of be,
Make your music stand out, get more views, and way more engagement. Bring your music to life. Get Music Visualizer. In every format, even for social media. Get started today. The link is in the description.
It's gonna sound bad. Pro R, where was that at? Pro R, this is dubstep snare room punch. It is basically doing absolutely nothing because I deleted everything on that rack. Yeah. Do you do anything crazy with your Moog to make sounds, or are you just pulling normal square? Just normal square and saws. Like, I'm a firm believer that literally you can turn anything into a good sound when you have the correct post-processing. So like when we can watch this back, you can kind of see how I made the bass on here, and yeah, just try it. Go on and just play a regular square on Serum or whatever you guys use, and just process that. I guarantee the less you think, the more you'll get out of it. And resample, it's literally how this song came to be. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, I hope I kind of covered everything. I trying to do it in a decent time limit so we can get to this unreleased song. But yeah, chat, if you guys have anything, any questions before we move on, feel free to ask. Yes, I never, ever, 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 ever use dubstep drums. I never use EDM drums. I've used the same exact drums other than like claps. Company gave me some of those. I like my kicks and everything I've been using since day one. Like this kick that I use, I've had it since I was 13 years old, and I've processed it once a year to make it slap even harder. Mixdowns, honestly, do EQing, subtractive EQing. I don't really boost EQ because it just like kind of when you boost you run into issues. So just like look at all of your EQs, go down in a line and look at them as puzzle pieces. And also mid-side EQing. Before we move on, mid-side EQing, let me bring this up because I didn't do it on here, but I would love to show you this, guys. Bring up an EQ. Over here, turn the mode to mid-side. This is for like the basses on top of the sub. You're gonna want a hard cut. Go a little bit past 100K. That way, it just kind of molds the sound and it creates something beautiful. But yeah, that's basically it. I'll keep on answering questions as far as what you guys have, and then I'm gonna open up this next project. Where, oh where is dystopia? Very way more stronger. Yeah, it does. Alright, let's save this. Dun dun dun. How's everybody going? I hope this has been somewhat educational. Like, I'm not used to talking about my music. It's kind of weird for me because like most of the time I just go for it. I just jump on it. On the master, I will bring up the master at the end of this breakdown for Dystopia. I use the same master chain on everything. And that's not it. Let's do this. Let's bring up my master. Master Heck. Alright, I'm gonna go through some of these questions before we move on. Do OTT do's and don'ts for basses. Just don't overdo it. Don't full send it at 100%. Mono all the drums, including hi-hats and all that. Yeah, mono everything. Even your like absolutely mono the sub. And I just, like I said, I picture where the like the cymbals and like the rides and all that stuff are on a drum kit, then I'll pan it accordingly. Anything on master? Yes, I will show you guys that now. When you start a track, what do you typically start with the most? I do everything in order. I start with the intro, create a vibe. That way the build-up can create tension. And then when you release on the drop, it sounds like it's cohesive with the intro. When your intros are cohesive with your bass, like your drop, it makes the song, in my opinion, that much more enjoyable. Yes, I do recommend using less layers, but I'm not telling you to use less layers because everybody has their own style, you know? Any tips on being a multi-genre artist? Just stay inspired. Freaking find out who your inspirations were and go listen to them and find out who their inspirations were and just keep on creating and like finding different vibes and like things that you can implement into your own music. Do you make your own master? Yes, I do. Sorry, Chase. I hope I answered that OTT question above. Carnage Fattener. Carnage. I appreciate that, guys. Appreciate that. Guys and gals, what advice would you give to people still trying to figure out how to make a tasty drop, melodic and rhythmic? Get your phone, voice memo, and just hum. Just da-da-da-da-da-da-da, whatever. Put it into Ableton and then mimic it with a bass. You'll be golden. Master, we will go over that. Is that ringing on the drums? It's just literally the drum sample. Switching up dynamics, yes, I will go over that. My inspiration, my man's Lauren. All right, so this is a unreleased song off of my upcoming album, and let's give it a listen. I doubt I'll have to go over like certain parts of it because a lot of my plugins stopped working. This is Dystopia. I learned how to produce first when I was like 13 years old. You guys feeling this? This is that new Hekler vibe, low key. You guys are gonna be damn surprised when you find out what the vocals are. Boom. So that's Dystopia. I just had a question come in about how to get through creative blocks like I did. Basically, I listen to absolutely everything except for what I want to make. When I'm in a creative block, I do not listen to bass music. I do not listen to trap. I do not listen to dubstep. Nothing. I literally sit back, listen to some smooth jazz. I listen to some oldies, listen to some hip hop, really grasp that, that inspiration that, like, I like listening to a lot of live music as well, kind of just to give me that reset, because when you listen to electronic music all the time, you're like, dang, it has to hit super hard. But no, like, if you want to put freaking reverb on your sub, the top layer of the sub, do that. I got inspired to do that while me and Glades were working on a new song. He was like, bro, let's put some reverb on this sub. I was like, all right. But yeah, if you guys ever get into a creative block, listen to absolutely everything except for what you want to make. Because I guarantee when you come back after that and you make what you want to make, it's going to have those vibes and those influences, and it's literally going to help you develop a style. Yeah, so let's move on to the breakdown. And I hope if you are going through a block, I hope that little piece of advice really helps, I appreciate it, everyone. Thank you. How long did it take me to finish? Yo, I'm not gonna front. It took me like 4.5 hours. I work really fast, like really fast for no reason. Especially when I started making melodic music, it's just like, I've been able to really release my emotions into my music, and when your emotions are put into the music, you can't deny them. So it just kind of, yeah. Hi-hat pattern, yes I will. All right, so we're gonna start this ARP. It was my Korg mini log. Again with the endless smile. I just I cut it. I cut the lows out at 100. Yeah, so basically it's just endless smile, an auto filter, and EQing. Like I said in the previous breakdown, you don't need too much. Don't need too much at all. And then what do we have? This is the bass line. Ooh, I was stoked about this. It reminded me of my favorite artist, Lauren. So for that, literally again, no processing other than whatever is going on in Omnisphere. See, this is how you know I'm addicted to analog, because even when I'm using a VST, I still go for the Moog presets. Yes, soothe. I will get to that. And then what's this? Oh yeah, that's the chunky boy. So on there, yes, less is definitely more. What advice would you give to students on how finishing songs so fast like you do while still playing? Don't worry about the amount of time you spend on a song as long as you're happy with it. Like, you never want to rush anything at all, especially when you're first learning. You want to make sure to pay attention to every detail. The things that you feel that you did wrong, take note of that. Put it in your notes, type it in your phone. And then the next project that you work on, go in and avoid doing that. Like, if you want to, if you want to make music fast, you really shouldn't. Because like, I don't go into a project and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna finish this in 4 hours. No, like, if the inspiration tells you that you're gonna finish it, like, it'll happen naturally. Like, I never force it. Like, sometimes, like, this song specifically was fast. My latest music, all this melodic stuff, let me tell you, I've taken like days and days and days and days and days. I have this new song, Pressure, that is going to be on one of my albums, that I literally have 32 different versions because I just haven't been happy with it. So it kind of depends on the vibe, depends on the situation. But other than that, don't rush for your perfection. use Soothe? Do you ever find yourself using Fab Filter EQ on a track while you're using Soothe? Yes, I never fully trust Soothe. Never ever. I'll get into that right now. So, basically on this bass, I have my the processing rack, the rack that I used on my song Ultimate, the first song that I released as Hekler. I have the delay on it. It's doing the same trick. I made it wide. And it's 100% dry wet, same as before, as in the last project. 10.3 millisecond right time, 1 millisecond left time, and then I have a delay on it. Really, for delay and reverb, it's to taste. Just don't overly do the reverb in your drops, because it's just like, I don't know, it's dodgy when it comes to playing it live. Because say for instance, I played a song at EDC last year, sounds great in the studio, but live, way too much reverb, just sounds drowned out. Like, don't overdo the delay and reverb. And then I have an enhancer on here where I'm just basically enhancing the frequencies on this bass line. Drive at 50%, tone at 50%, dry wet at 7%. That way it's not too much. And then OTT, this one's cranked out 100 for no apparent reason. I don't know why, but it just sounded good. Like, anything that I say, take it with a grain of salt and use it with your process. You want to be able to apply these things, because just because 100% works in this song doesn't mean 100% is going to work in Transparency. Doesn't mean 100% is going to work in Doom. It's not going to work in Wraith, you know? So it's always trust your ear and mix quiet. Don't slap your music when you're producing, because I'm starting to lose my hearing. You don't want to do that. So just, you can hear everything when it's quiet. Click between mono, like put a utility on your master and just switch in between mono and stereo. And if it sounds good, it sounds good. I have another glue compressor. Same concept, kind of. This one is... So when it comes to using a glue compressor, you never want it to surpass 10 in the middle. It just starts sounding really bad. And then again, I have the Ghost Hat sidechain on that. Would you say if you're struggling on a section, just move on to another part, or keep the inspiration flow going? I say work on it, keep on working on it until you're just like, damn, I can't figure this out. But if you can't figure it out, just literally drop a section, an octave, and throw some grain delay or something on it, and it'll create a whole nother vibe that you can use for your B section. What are your opinions on letting some channels clip? I've heard some artists say you want your sound clipping to get that loudness. Others say you shouldn't. Like I said, it honestly depends on your vibe. Like me, all of my music, it's all clipping. It's all hitting hard. But like, say if you're making like tech house or something that's not meant to be super hard hitting, like in that aspect, where like, it depends. Do you want to sacrifice loudness for dynamics? Recently, I've been going for the more dynamic route, so I'll just turn everything down to make sure that it's not clipping zero. But other than that, like, it's ultimately up to the vibe of the song. Because I could turn this down and not clip this project, and it wouldn't sound good at all. So it's kind of the vibe that you're going for. Master channel, I will definitely get to that at the end of this project. Stay tuned. And then this is like a little boom, boom, boom. I found like this, I have this plugin by Scott Storch, and that was like kind of like a arpeggiated sound that was on there. This also has the dimension send that I went over with the stereo imaging, the make it louder, and cutting the lows out of it. This is just a random atmosphere. You want atmospheric layers to fill your space. See, this is just, you really don't hear this in the actual mix of the song, but this is like kind of sweetening the low end of that re-space, and it's like filling the ambient space that my synths didn't typically do, you know? And then again with the atmosphere is key, guys. If your intro sounds bland, chuck some atmospheres under it and pitch them to the bass or whatever the root note of your song is. See, this is like an arpeggiated atmosphere. It's just an EQ on it, really. Yes, I do use a meter to measure my loudness, but then I just look at it, I'm like, maybe it's, I don't mind if it doesn't reach a certain, so let me put this into perspective for you guys. All of Skrillex's new music has been hitting at -7, and everybody in the dubstep community is trying to aim for -3. And there's a reason why, like, songs are, I feel like when you're at home listening to music, the -7 is a lot better, and I'll really go into depth on that once I get to my master chain, so it makes more sense because I'm kind of just rambling about it. But yes, to your question, I do measure it. So on Omnisphere, I just played this melody. It has a nice little twinkle to it. It's a flute. And yeah, again, all I did on, this is a resampled sound. So on the original patch, all I did was cut the lows out of it. As you guys can tell on both of these projects, I really don't do too much when it comes to processing my intros. We went over that sound. I think we went over all the melodic elements. Any questions as far as the melodic elements before I get into the drop sounds? I'll keep an eye on the chat itself. But these are the drop sounds. Oops, my bad. Yeah, in this project it is. Do I gain stage? Yeah, but not to the extent that a lot of people do. Yes, I sidechain literally anything and everything that my kick is under. That way, my kick can punch through. That's how my kicks really hit so hard, because I use the sidechain to cut those frequencies out of the sub bass and out of all the other elements. So it's just doomp, doomp, kind of just dumps on them, you know? How many elements do I use in my build-ups? So my build-ups, when I start building everything up, I'll just start chopping everything that's in the intro and pitch it up and create risers out of it. So it varies on how many, yeah, this is more resampled. Kind of depends on how many elements are in my intro. And then I usually use just claps, a snare with a counter snare, and kicks, and that's about it. How loud does it have to be before getting to the drop? For me and a lot of my recent stuff on the master, I'll automate on the last 2 bars. I'll automate it down 3 dBs. That way, like, it builds tension, comes down, and then boom, kind of just pow, bangs. All right, so the drop sounds themselves, good old processing. So without, let me make sure this is all right. Let's turn that off and let's turn that off. This is it without. See, it's literally like a sine wave. And all of this, again, I'm planning on doing another stream where I do like analog type stuff, maybe on the side or on my Instagram, just so you guys get a gist of how I'm doing this. But these are all like out of a reel that I did on my Moog again. Then I added grain delay. You guys hear the difference? So for the grain delay, I'm doing pitch at 3.27. And then at the bottom, I know you guys can't see it, but you click the third tab, it's frequency. And I just basically dragged it up. And 100% dry wet. And then again, I did the utility trick, but I did 36% just to kind of fit it in the space of this song itself. And again, I use my ultimate rack. Actually, I might be... in the next few weeks, I'll give this rack away. I'll figure out how to get it to you guys if that's a thing. I'll talk to them. Maybe you guys could learn how to use it. I think that would be something pretty cool. But yeah, this is the stereo imaging trick again with the 1 millisecond, 10.3 milliseconds delay. All the same stuff. The glue compressor, and then really just sidechain. And then I know a lot of you are probably looking at this like, what on earth is that? Let me tell you, I don't know. It sounds tight. I did the exact same processing on it. So that's the actual, that's the stock sound, well, like the raw sound. Grain delay is going to be your best friend. I can almost guarantee that. Sonny's production game has always been something people chase, but I believe all artists are great. Should never feel bad for not achieving. Aaron, that I took the words straight out of my mouth. I've had phasing issues using grain delay. If you have those issues, I would separate the tracks, do the Haas effect, pan one left, pan one right, and then put a utility on each of those tracks, mono them, and then you shouldn't have any phasing issues. Do you use MIDI keyboards to make your tracks? No, I use all analog synthesizers. Let me bring this up for you guys real quick so you can kind of get an idea. Here we go. This is one of mine. It's the Korg Mini Log. That's what I've been using a lot lately in all these songs. Alright, let's move forward. There's really not that much going on when it's a lot of just grain delay. Oh, this one's cool. Alright, so this is a cool trick. So, use the Ableton stock auto pan, and then what you're gonna do is the amount, crank it all the way to 100%, rate to whatever LFO, like whatever pulse you want. At the bottom, I know you guys can't see it, but directly underneath amount, there's an invert. You want to make sure invert is on. That way it triggers on the 1 instead of like dips down. And then instead of doing hertz, you're going to want to click the musical note. And that is your cheat code to creating vibrato effects. So without it, right? And then with it.
Make your music stand out, get more views, and way more engagement. Bring your music to life. Get Music Visualizer. In every format, even for social media. Get started today. The link is in the description.
There it is. Oh, Gama's in here? What's good? And then again, Endless Smile. I use that just to kind of reverb throw out of my drops. And then this sound specifically is cut really high because it's a high frequency sound. And then just the sidechain and the 57% utility. That's basically it when it comes to that. And the moment that I've been waiting for. This vocal.
Never let nobody
Got the track,
bring it back, bring it back,
got the track,
bring it back.
It's your boy Denzel Curry.
Never let nobody
got the track,
bring it back, bring it back,
got the track.
bring it.
When pitching the grain delay, are you tuning to the sub? I honestly go to like I just listen for it at a super low volume, and I'll just whatever sounds good with the track. Like, obviously there's relative notes, so you don't have to, if your song's an F, you don't have to have it in F. So just find a relative key. There are charts everywhere on the internet that you can find relative keys, and that's how you create kind of a different rhythmic dynamic flow with your synths instead of just having a single hitting note, you know. But yeah, so on that, I literally just cut the lows out.
Never let nobody
Got the track.
bring it back. Bring
Oh, I brought up the wrong one. Sorry, guys. It's the same. I use the same vocal effects rack on every single vocal that I use in my songs. And then also, if you guys have waves, there is waves doubler. And if you put the waves doubler, just like open it up, the stock preset, and just put it on a send and do -13, it'll add amazing. It'll add a layer. It's basically what a doubler does. It adds a layer. Yeah, there's really not much that went into the vocals other than this chain. It has reverb on it along with the dry chain with I side chained the reverb to the vocal itself. How do you go about remixing a song to make it yours while still keeping its roots? Is there a proper way to put remixes out? I don't typically remix songs, but if you are, create counter melodies and stuff and just like try to replicate the melody with your own instrumentation. Ben, you didn't miss the master settings. It's okay, we got you. What was a breakthrough moment for you early in your production career? Not giving a bleep about what other people say about my music. Constructive criticism is amazing, but if people are hating on you, they're just jealous of you. That's as simple as that. Once I realized that, and I just started making things because I loved making the song and I loved making the music, absolute breakthrough. That's literally what made me who I am today and kept me going through the years. So next, we're using a bunch of virtual riot effects. Let me play all these effects for you. Big booms. Big ding. So I basically just have risers, impacts. I have them reversed into the one. And then here's the riser up through the build-up. Cut it. Bring it back. Builds more tension. Glass. See, these effects are super simple. It's just a bunch of risers. That's every like 4 bars or 8 bars, whatever works with your song, put a riser swelling up to transition into the next section. Create that crescendo effect. That's basically everything. I cut all my effects except for this impact because it has those sub qualities. When did I feel I found my signature sound? I honestly still feel like I'm still finding it. Like I've always been one to believe that if you're learning and developing something new every day, you'll never lose. So like, that being said, like, you can have a style, but make sure you always adapt on it and like grow off of that, you know? The hip hop sample, yes. Along those lines, what's a production or mixing technique you wish you learned way earlier on? Subtractive EQing, for sure. Subtractive EQing. If you're doing that and you're making every sound fit in your mix, you'll be able to crank it as loud as you want and clip it, and it'll still sound pretty decent. let's go on to the drums. I'm gonna just play the drums through so you guys have an idea of how they're swinging. Oh wow, let's mute that. We don't want that. Another tip of advice: when you're putting your projects together and you're organizing, make sure you actually put your drums only in your drum section. So right here, I just have a ride. Got the garage vibes. Yeah, so this like groove, one of my buddies sent it to me. It was back when I had my hard drive had really corrupted itself and I didn't have any of my old stuff until recently. So I literally just used the loop that he gave me because I didn't have any of my good rides or hi-hats. So big advice: if you see anybody telling you that you can't use a drum loop or alter it, like I altered this and I chopped it up, but feel free, samples are there for a reason. I'm not saying go and fully take an entire drop sample and freaking make your entire song out of it, but if it's drums, go ahead. Nobody owns drums. Nobody owns a hi-hat pattern. That's just my 2 cents on it. So if you ever feel like somebody's judging you on that, don't feel judged, because yo boy uses a hi-hat loop in this song. How do I do that with the hi-hats? Have you ever, honestly, that's what I wanted to cover. So obviously that was like a loop that I chopped up, but if you want swing on your hi-hats, over here there's delay compensation. I usually put my hi-hats to 12 milliseconds and it's going to help you create a swing. Would you ever release a song in a different style that doesn't match the Hekler discography, or would you make a new alias? In my eyes, the only way, like, all right, so my goal in life is to get a Grammy, and I want to do that as me. So if you think back to like all these rock bands, they always change their sounds. They always experiment. And for some reason in the electronic industry, people are like, oh, you used to make hard stuff. Why are you making this now? It's like all this elitist stuff, and it's making people feel they have to make a new alias, which you do not have to do. If you want to put out music, put out music. Starting September, I'm about to release so many songs that like don't fit my vibe at all. But I'm trying to grow as a musician. I'm trying to grow my brand. I'm trying to reach that end goal of becoming a composer. Imagine freaking watching a new Interstellar and it says composed by Hekler or whatever. Like that's the goal. So if you see value in your brand, freaking do what you want to do, because screw all this. Oh, if you make dubstep, you only can make dubstep. If you want to make trap, you can only make trap. That's how you get stuck, and that's how you don't grow as an artist. Sorry for ranting, but that's something I'm very passionate about. So yes, Queen, yes. Queen, the most legendary band of all time. How many freaking different hits did they make that were completely different? But yeah, I'm gonna stop ranting about that. Let's move into the drums for the drop. Okay. Yo, Bring Me the Horizon's new project, insane. These drums are going off, low-key. Alright, so back to it. It's the kick that I've been using since I was like 13 years old. With the with the kick compressor ratio 4:1, attack 30 milliseconds, release 120 milliseconds, and 100% dry wet. And under that, I found the super sick top kick. It's just literally a click. Yeah, it's just literally a click, and it adds that. It allows people that are listening to your song on bad speakers to hit super hard. How old am I? I'm 22 years old. What did you use for that high ringing sound on the sub? Erosion. I will show you how to do that very soon once we get there. And then underneath that is the ghost hat that I'm triggering my sidechain to. And then I have a clap. Oh no, that's not a clap. That was the snare. And all of these drums are mono again. I came up with Hekler in a dream. Like, I'm not even gonna lie. And then we have open ride. It's all about filling in the spaces. You want to kind of create a swing with like filling in spaces. Let's go on to the next one. Look at it as a puzzle when you're creating drums. Hi-hats. You can even pan these to the left a little bit. I'm gonna have to swing through this, guys. We got 5 minutes. Since somebody asked about the sub bass, on it we have, it's set in mono, and then erosion literally adds that nice little buzz on top. Oh yeah, I use audio. I feel like I can really make them do what I want them to do. What are your thoughts on EQing drums? Take out all of just take out all the bad frequencies that are like kind of, you don't need low frequencies in a hi-hat, you don't need low frequencies, you don't need highs in a freaking kick. That's basically it. All right, we're getting close to the end. Let me go over this master chain real quick because I know you guys were wondering about it. So basically, in the beginning, I have a utility, bass mono, only 120 hertz is, and lower is the mono. I have this plugin, Soothe. I'm telling you, I'm trying to manifest it. It's called Balance to the Grammy Awards. It was already in there. Basically, it's clearing up the muddiness in the lows. It's boosting the 250 range, kind of clearing out muddiness in like the 1K, bringing the highs up, and then rolling off the highs. That way you kind of get rid of that hissing sound on your master. And then this is removing what most miss. It's another Soothe preset. It's basically getting rid of all of those bad frequencies. Soothe 2 is the greatest investment of all time. Make sure, like, if you guys can cop it, get it. It does magic. Like, I like to know that I know a lot, but I don't know what it's actually doing. But when it sounds good, so I'm just like, all right, let's just roll with the punches. And then here I have a Pro Q. Basically, let me run it so you guys can see what it's doing. It's basically just what's the word? It's making sure that the levels aren't like surpassing where they should be. Like, it's, see, I'm at loss of words right now, but it's a Pro Q3 stock. It's under dynamic mix. Hey, I'm trying to get me a Grammy. I hope to see all of you guys up there. All you guys and gals, we all gonna get Grammys. I promise you. And then at the end, I have an EQ cutting at 16K because all these, you can't really hear anything. It's just a bunch of bad resonances. And then I have this secret sauce, the pusher, and it's basically just an exciter and like post EQing. So I'm basically just doing a bunch of EQing on my master, and then that's basically it. There's stereo imaging on here. It's on clipping. I clip my masters, and yeah, that's basically it, really. Other than that, I appreciate you guys tuning in with me. It's been fantastic. If you have any questions that I can answer real quick before I end this stream, I would love to answer those. Yeah, this is Dystopia. My name is Hekler. I hope you guys really enjoyed this, learned a thing or two. Always feel free to hit me up on social medias. And yeah, loved kicking it with you guys. Stick around for just a little bit longer. Appreciate that, Derek. Appreciate you tuning in. No, thank you, Brock. Thank you very much. One-on-one sessions? Yeah, I will I actually want to start doing one-on-one sessions eventually, so stay tuned on my social media. I'm really taking a break from socials, but like when I post about it, I'll make sure that I fill you guys in about that. Of course, guys. Of course. I'm glad everybody enjoyed it. Like I said, my Instagram DMs are open. If you have any questions after this, I'll try to get to as many of you as possible. But yeah. Until next time, I hope you hope to hear from you guys and hear all of your music. Sound advice? Oh, sound design advice? Just tweak. Just keep on tweaking your sounds and just kind of go in. It's all about experimenting. There's never one right way to do. Yeah. There's never one way to do anything when it comes to making music. Alright, guys. My name is Hekler. Demo email, sendhecklertunes@gmail.com. And until next time. Serum Massive. I'm sorry, I want to answer these. I don't really use Serum or Massive anymore. But yeah. Alright, guys, I have to end the stream. I appreciate it. If you have any questions, at Hekler Music on Instagram, at Hekler Music on Twitter, and much love. Thanks for hanging out.